What is going on, everybody? My oh so glorious and beloved fans, because I am your oh so beloved and glorious Mace Valley. That is really shaky. That time of year, my lips are like crazy chapped. Just wanted to essentially shoot the shit with a few of y'all. See how everyone's doing. Send out some holiday cheer, because that's what we all need right now, you know. Hope everyone is well, happy, healthy, etc. I am just waiting on some packages to arrive, as most of us are. First thing Amazon shows me is a portable inverter generator. Don't really need that. Just want to look at my orders. It's out for delivery. Good. Merry Christmas. Robert, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. But then again, I haven't been on in a while, so. Package arrived at carrier facility. Out for delivery. Should be here. So, not rushing it. Just letting it do its thing. Letting it do its thing. Letting things arrive. So, obviously, I don't know if you guys have watched the podcast or whatever, but this setup is a little different and the lighting is improved. So, it's not perfect by any means, but we're getting there. And as with most of everything, it's temporary. Really confused. Just checking emails and stuff. Hey, Merry Christmas. Good. Still doing Uber, Lyft, Roadie. Gig economy stuff, man. I'm glad you guys are keeping on it. I mean, obviously I haven't been. I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't know if you all know that, but my channel is kind of, that's what it's been built upon. It's been built upon the gig economy, and that's what a lot of people came here for. Either that or, let's see, gig economy, HVAC, or because of my Why I Left the Army video. I don't do those things anymore. There are so many things I want to do, but I have limitations, which is why I've mainly just been doing the podcast, because it's the easiest creative thing that I can do outside of writing. Video editing is just tricky right now. There's stuff that I've been wanting to do, but I want to make sure I can provide the right level for you guys. So some of the stuff has been just taking a while. But I appreciate the people that have been around. People continue to watch and enjoy the content. I continue the people that jump in and leave comments occasionally. You know me, I always try to, reply back if there's something that I can say. You guys have made this year pretty freaking wonderful for me. Just being a very supportive group of individuals, and I appreciate that. It does mean a lot to me that there's that sense of community for me. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking out episode 4 of Real Talk with Money and Tim. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever created. My wit and charming disposition. Well, I appreciate the kind words. The sentiment does not go unnoticed. I appreciate that very much. going over what we're making for Christmas dinner tomorrow, or Christmas Eve dinner and Christmas dinner with the missus. So I was hoping to hear back from Tim to do a shorter version of the podcast today. Pretty sure he's busy right now, but as long as I can get something up for you guys by Christmas, that would be looking forward to that if it happens, if I hear back from them. So what am I doing now? Well, you're looking at it. Not really much of anything other than just play dad. Okay, so let's rewind a bit, and I'll break this down for you guys. So things with you guys knew I primarily focused on TaskRabbit as my main gig thing. I didn't really have a vehicle that I could rideshare with. Wouldn't meet the requirements of what a rideshare vehicle, their requirements and stuff. So I did food delivery for a while, but the vehicles I've historically had have been like work trucks and SUVs. And when you break down the associated overhead and costs for doing like food delivery in a truck or a large like V8 Durango, the gas mileage just isn't there. It's not, especially when you're driving a lot of the city. So food delivery had to stop after a while. And you guys have seen my videos. I have my own issues. I'd be working hours and hours and hours and, barely make $100 a day. Just because of all sorts of different varying factors. Okay. The primary one was gas. I just couldn't afford the gas. With what I was making, the tips just weren't there. And historically, and we all know this, hopefully you guys know this, how DoorDash was really shady with how they handled their tips and their guaranteed pay. Some people want to argue that it's okay. No, not by any stretch of the imagination, because of the contract that we went into as independent contractors. They kind of reworked the language to make it, in their mind, okay to essentially withhold our tips. It's the long and the short of it. I'll probably discuss it some other time if you guys are interested in the more intricate nature of how that happens. But so did a lot of different stuff, but then primarily focused on TaskRabbit, doing handyman stuff. Did some other platforms as well. I did Pulse. I did Handy, Tackle. Tackle no longer exists at all. I would love to video about that. I probably should. Now that I think about it, because the writing was on the wall for that one anyway. Handy, but like I said, I should probably make that train wreck as well. So I'm mainly focused on handyman stuff. And the one thing I liked about it was that I could be down in Las Vegas and then I could go visit my family up in Washington and then just transfer my location, no problem. And that made the job that I was having and doing very versatile. I made more money up there than I did down here. Didn't work as much, but my hourly was a lot higher because of the market. So I would go up there, work fewer jobs, make more money, and it would pay for my trip up there, as well as any money I would have lost having gone on vacation, as it were. Oh, yeah. DoorDash is... You'll see, DoorDash doesn't make money off of delivery, though. Food delivery companies, Postmates, DoorDash, all of them, they don't make money off deliveries. That they're not... They're a marketing company first. They're not a delivery company. They make money off commissions. That's why if you go to Jack in the Box, you see one price, but if you go into their app, you see an inflated price, right? And that's because that offsetted price is how much they themselves make, right? These companies, they make money off commissions. That delivery fee usually goes to the driver. Issue with DoorDash and some other companies as well is that if you got tipped, they would withhold the delivery fee. And they would pay you out $1 from them because they have to pay you something. And then they would give you the rest as a tip. You could justify it either way, but when you really break it down, it doesn't matter. It's still withholding tips, if that makes sense. So Anyway, because they still have to pay you the delivery fee anyway. So they're withholding a portion of your tips. You could classify it however you want. End of the day, they're holding tips from you. And there's been multiple class action lawsuits against them. So I primarily focused on TaskRabbit, and then it just got to the point where it was really difficult for me to handle different customers. And my sanity was just being lost. At the same time, I don't know if I made this super... What? No, they did. I'm saying as a whole, usually most food delivery companies, it's not the delivery fee they make money off of. They make money from the commissions. That's the laser focus. When you look at it from a business element, the business focus, they're a marketing company, then a food delivery company. Hopefully that makes sense. So at the same time, like I said, I don't know how public I made this, but I had a life-threatening issue with an infection, and was basically prolonging my condition with amoxicillin to kind of hold it back, and the infection was spreading. I finally got that under control in 2020. The VA finally, to make a long story short, a lot of hoops I had to jump through. It's a long process, and I was out of work for a while, for months actually. And mainly it was because of COVID. Really was why a lot of people in the gig economy were out of work. That was the main reason why, because I was dealing with this issue and I was still working, but it got to the point where it was just difficult. It was very difficult. But the VA came through. Now I have my 100%. So thanks to the 100%, I was able to get the medical work done that was necessary to take care of me. So that is no longer an issue, and I'm all better now, which is good moving forward. But because of my 100% VA benefits, and also because of COVID, I've kind of been able to be here at home and focus on my kids. The whole distance learning bullshit. My book is out. You kind of go into those things really hopeful, and I guess I was more hopeful. Like, I was cautiously hopeful. Like, I knew it was gonna, take a while to take off. I didn't think I'd get the reception that I did. I have a wonderful rating from the people that have read it. I've had a lot of people read it, but not many people have left reviews. And I priced my book, so I don't even make a profit on it. I think I make maybe 10 cents per copy of the book sold. I don't make jack shit for money on the book whatsoever. And that's because I want the lower price as a newer author to incentivize people to read it. Because I wrote it because I want people to read it. So that's kind of what the whole point of that was. I kind of pushed that out into the universe. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like, I just wish that more people would have read it and reviewed it, and I could have that author moment where I interact with people and we talk about, well, what did you take away from the book? Like, did I convey what I wanted to properly for you as a reader? I also understand that, this day and age, not a lot of people read. No. Yes, people are reading it. People are buying copies of it. People are also reading it on Kindle Unlimited, so you can read it for free. But people just aren't reviewing it. I think about 4,000 or 5,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, probably about 4,500 people have read the book in its entirety. So that's 100% completion. It's 216 pages. So just 12 reviews. 12 reviews on my book. 4,500 people have written it in its entirety. 4,500 people have written it in its entirety, and 12 people wrote a review. So that's kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie, but it just is what it is. So, hopefully, when I get part 2 out, people will read it more. But because this whole distance learning thing, even though I'm not working, I distance learning has become all encompassing. It's kind of like enveloped my entire life. So to finish, because it's already finished, it's just I have to do another round of editing on it, and I have to format it for paperback and for the ebook, and that is a long process. It took several months, basically working a minimum of 4 hours a day on it. That just kind of is what it is. So, hey, it's whatever. What else? So yeah, I focus on my YouTube content. I focus not as much on streaming lately. I kind of told you guys this at the end of October that November especially is a very busy month for me. And, then December is busy as well. But December, I've been giving you guys the podcast, which, that's long form factor content, listen to as they go. They average anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours. It comes out once a week. Last week, we put out 2 episodes. So episode 3 and episodes 4 are out. And I believe episode 5, if I can get Tim to record something with me, it'll be not super long, but I'm thinking maybe about 30, 40 minutes, just so we can kind of what the fuck? Anyway. No. So if some random person in, let's say, Tallahassee buys a copy of my book, I'm not going to specifically know who that person is. So there's no way for me to contact that individual and say, hey, review my fucking book. You know what I mean? There's no way for me to do that. I mean, it's just, no, it's not to say that it's unrealistic. It's an impossibility. Amazon does not disclose the individuals with their contact information and locations for me to be able to encourage people to review it. So, but then again, the vast majority of people that purchase a product never review it, even if they actually like it. It's a very small percentage of people that buy something actually review it. They actually review it where they purchased it from, or they just review it at all. So for example, if you buy something from a Walmart store, you might end up reviewing, like there are some people that will review that item, but they don't review it on Walmart.com. They review it on Amazon. Or if they do review it on Walmart.com, the review that they give isn't for the Walmart listing of the specified item. It's for a third-party listing, so Walmart doesn't get that review. The third party gets that review, but just on Walmart's website, but it's not associated with the product itself that was sold at Walmart. You get what I'm saying? It's messy. It's very messy. So, but yeah, one of the things I did do is I got my author copies of the book when they came in. I have a YouTube video about this too. I went to Barnes & Noble, went to Target, went to Walmart, and I left a copy of my book. I wrote a little special note saying that the book is free. It's not in the store's inventory. Just take it, enjoy it, gift it to somebody because it's the holidays. And never heard anything about that. I gave 30 copies to the VA Southwest clinic. That's where I go see my doctors, my primary care physician, and that's also where I get my mental health stuff taken care of. Is at that clinic, and they have a free bookshelf. And I put a whole bunch of copies of my book there because those are free books. They're donated for people to read while they're waiting, and they can take with them if they want. And, hey, I wrote this book. I hope you enjoy it. And I wrote a special little note in every single one of them. Haven't heard anything back from any of those either. I have contact information for myself in the book. So people reading my book can go, oh, he's got a YouTube channel. He's got a Twitch channel. He's got an Instagram. I could find this guy and say, hey, good job. And I have had friends and family purchase the book, or I've had them get the book gifted. So it's not a verified purchase from them. So people have, purchased the book, or they have a copy of the book, friends and family. But instead of leaving a review, they tell me that they liked it. And it's like, okay, leave a review. Michael, come here. You know that when I'm doing this, you shouldn't be bugging me. What can I help you with, buddy? No, but what do you need? Can you close the door, please? Michael, can you please close the door? Thank you. I can't wait for these kids to go back to school. Anyway, I'm getting lost on a tangent with that. Overall, I'm very grateful for this year. My credit score has exploded this year. It's up over 200 points from where it was last year. So that's a good thing. I'm really happy for that. I don't know. This year has me really jaded, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, I'm trying to be focused on the good things happening in my life, because I'm very consciously aware that things could be so much worse. So I'm grateful for my position. I truly am. And I'm also trying to look outside of myself and look at the world as a whole. But I don't know, man. I just keep getting these weird vibes that, even though I'm looking outside of myself and I'm trying to shift my perspective and look at the world with a different lens, it's just really hard to get past the bullshit, It really is. The world around us, it's a lie, And as much as I want to be positive and hopeful, and that's it. The best that I know for me to get out of this negative mental funk, assessing the current state of not just our nation, but humanity as a whole, is I want to be proven wrong about the negative stuff occupying my mind. And I'm not trying to fake any level of positivity. I'm not going to lie to myself. I'm going to be honest about how I perceive the world around me, and what I'm gathering from it. But I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's weird. It's like I feel like I've gotten into arguments with too many people, and it's like, usually I love that. I love arguing with people, because for me, arguing is discourse, and through discourse we share opposing views, and it's a struggle to find some sort of middle ground, right? While defending our position. And through defending our position, the opposition can learn something. So when I argue with something, I gather the information that they're giving. I'm trying to learn from their perspective while I defend my own, right? I'm not just laser focused on I'm right and you're wrong. So that's where it's really difficult. So I have a near and dear friend, someone that means a lot, YouTube sub, longtime supporter of my content, and someone I appreciate very much. Wonderful human being, someone that is just one of the fucking greatest people I could have ever met in my life. And it's like I upset them because of my honest perspective of the world. And I don't want to upset people I care about. And there's another person, same boat, someone that it's like family to me, someone that had a lot of good times, bad times, everything in between. Someone I went to war with. And it's like they got upset because of a post that I made. And I guess on my end, I didn't articulate myself properly. I thought that I did, but I guess my opening was too focused as anti their position, and that's not what my intention was. From my perception of reality and the information that I've gathered, because I don't just look at one source of information and then like, that's the one I'm going with. I don't do that. I try to find, you know, a middle ground somewhere, somehow. That person was heated because of something that I wrote. And it upset me that, not that they disagreed with what I said or anything like that. It upset me because I did not articulate myself in the way that I intended. I thought that I did, but I didn't. I still stand by what I said. I just think I could have phrased it in a way that wasn't so laser focused, placing blame on one facet over another, because later on it's like, well, I believe in these things, and it becomes contradictory when you look into it that way. You know, it's self-discovery is an evalutionary thing. It doesn't happen overnight. If it happens overnight, it's disingenuous. Okay, for true and honest progression and to reevaluate your own worldview, it's a process. It's evolutionary. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's kind of what 2020 has done to me, is I've been taking a long, hard look at my political affiliations and reevaluating them. Now, that does not by any means mean that I am swimming over to the Dems. Not in the slightest. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stay a Republican. I think I'm just going to be independent. No party affiliation. Just want to be me with my own thoughts, my own views, and my opinions, and, you know, vote my conscience on things. I don't want to be swayed by one side or the other, because from my lived experience, both parties have fucking burned me. Okay? Both parties do not have the best interest of the people at heart. I think they go into this job with open eyes, starry-eyed, wanting to do some good in the world. And the moment that they get in office, they're just tainted. Career politicians, lobbying, those are two things that can just make someone just go from the best of intentions in the world to nothing but greed. And if you can take the two and marry them, well, then you think you have a win-win. I can benefit only the people that support me. The people that I know will vote for me will screen over other people. Who cares about them? They're not voting for me, so I'm not going to push forward any agenda that's going to benefit them whatsoever. But I can make some money at the same time. Those are the things I don't agree with whatsoever. And both parties have done that. And I'm not for that whatsoever. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I'm like, my brain is just, you know. This year has me exhausted. Another 4 years for the Donald. Let's go. Well, I would much rather have Donald than fucking Biden, Harris. I mean, yeah, some people are going to disagree with me. Fuck, dude. From my lived experiences and my perception and how I've seen his last presidents, the last 4 years, I think he's done a great job. No president has done a perfect job. Okay. Even the greatest president of all time had their hiccups. You know, Abraham Lincoln. Just throwing this out there, he was a Republican. So when people want to do this fucking argument like, well, the party line switched. No. There was no crazy switch, all right? So post-Civil War, party affiliation being altered. But I don't know. Trump's irritated the shit out of me these last few months. The election kind of made me lose a lot of respect for him, and that's just because of the current state of the world. Abe Lincoln was all right. Ha! I see what you did there. It's like I just talk about all this stuff, and it's nice to like vent it out into the universe. But then it reminds me of how emotionally taxing this all is. It's just I'm mentally exhausted. It's like even when I think that by shifting my perspective of the world around me and being for something that I used to be against, something that the opposition is all for, even when I think that I support that, somehow I'm still the bad guy. Because if you say anything at all negative about someone's party political affiliations whatsoever, you say anything negative, if you don't agree 100% with their doctrine, or as I'm referred to, their God. Look, Trump was never my God. I never worshiped the fucking guy, okay? He's a man doing a fucking job. That's it, okay? He puts his pants on one leg at a time with the fucking rest of us, all right? Nothing special about him other than the fact that he's POTUS. And that's it. He's human like the rest of us, okay? I've never revered Trump as a God. I've never worshipped him as a God. To lump me in with the group of people that, yeah, some people act like he's the savior bastion of humanity. No, if there is a savior bastion of humanity, I would say Elon Musk is. But even still, he's just a man doing a job. I just think that his vision of the future, him as a futurist, is something very endearing. Because I do think that, yeah, in the next couple 100 years, we need to take to the stars. We need to develop technologies to get us off of this rock. Okay, and I'm not saying like, oh, the earth is doomed, let's leave. No. What I'm saying is for humanity to really prosper into the future, the next stage of human expansion and development is we need to take space. We need to colonize other planets. I do think it's possible. It's just far off. We're getting close, but there's a lot of issues that we got to take care of on Earth here first. We need to collectively kind of get our shit together so we can go that direction. And I do think that Elon Musk is doing a wonderful job pushing forward with that mindset, with that mentality. Yes, I do believe that marijuana needs to be fucking legal everywhere. I hear places that still haven't legalized it. And it's like, oh, that's crazy. And it's true. I think it was the same person that I'm making mention of. It told me that I have a vision that we're far more progressive than we really are. It's just like with LGBTQ plus LMNOP rights, like gay rights and stuff like that. We tend to think that we're far more progressive than we really are. And that kind of boils down to Congress, and it's not like a one-sided Republican, one-sided Democrat thing. It's Congress, by and large, is career politicians that have a certain mindset that they really haven't let go of. People want to act like Hillary is this bastion of humanity, right? Or at least 4.5 years ago, that's what they were acting like. She was the greatest fucking thing, when that wasn't the fucking case at all. Not in the slightest, Yes, we need our eggs in more than one basket. Support the troops, legalize it. Congress is absolutely corrupt. It is. I'm a big advocate for term limits. Like, look, you could argue that, hey, we need career politicians because we need experts in their field doing this shit. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Sure, whatever. But I just think there's a couple things that I think are bullshit. All right. I've never been a big advocate that U.S. Supreme Court justice should serve for life. That is a high office to have for an extreme amount of time. I mean, you have this job for life. You could essentially half-ass this fucking job. But once you have it, that's it. I'm not saying that people do that. I'm just saying the fact that you could. That's a problem. The fact that you could be like Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, like you could be this career politician for decades, not get anything worth a damn actually done, and just siphon fucking taxpayer funds. And it's just bullshit, man. I may not like AOC whatsoever. 90% of the shit that comes out of her mouth irritates the ever-looking piss out of me. 10% of it, I'm like, hey, I like what she said there. Yeah, I'm totally for that. But 90% of it is just dog shit. But yeah, we need people her age to be in Congress. Yeah. I may not agree with her, but I'm glad that she's in office. You know, I'm glad that someone from my generation is there. You know, Ilhan Omar. However, with the fact that she is pro giving the vaccine to those that most need it, frontline workers, elderly, those with underlying conditions. Look, I have issues with the vaccine, but that's a different topic altogether. But the fact that she is for giving it to those individuals as opposed to Congress being allowed to cut in front of the line, I'm going to applaud that too. That is something that I am totally for. That is a mindset that I can get behind. All right. But I'm not going to touch on the whole vaccine thing because it's too divisive. And I've talked about enough divisive things already. I want this year to be over with as much as you guys, man. I really do. I want social distancing to last forever. I wish people would take social distancing seriously, man. I mean, I like it for the same reasons that you do. Fuck people, right? Mainly strangers. I love my friends and stuff. And it's so weird because there are people that like I really, really, really get along with. But if you bring politics up, like they turn into an individual that they can't stand the fact that someone disagrees with them. And I'm not calling someone out. I'm not calling an individual out. I'm just saying that's human nature. A lot of my friends are like that. I'm one of the few people that I don't get upset personally if you disagree with me religiously or politically, because I think it's good that we have different views. How can we progress forward if everyone just believes the same bullshit? You know, if we all drank the fucking Kool-Aid, we all need to think a little differently. I don't know about reducing their salary. You got to remember, these people are doing a fucking job, and there's a big giant misconception. So there's some things I see on Facebook that were going around because I have friends that are conservative where it's like, come on, I roll my eyes at some of the shit that they post, and it's like, oh, like they're giving money to all these places and they're giving themselves raises. And I was like, all right, hold on. Congress legally cannot give themselves a raise. That's there. I can't remember which amendment it is, but we have an amendment. I think it's the 24th. They can't give themselves raises. However, because politicians are more often than not career politicians, they can give the next term a pay raise. That's perfectly legal. So if you have a bunch of career politicians, they can't give themselves a raise. They give the next term a raise. Well, their term comes up. Guess what? They just got a pay increase. I don't think that it's like the health care that Congress gets. I don't think that they should get that level of health care whatsoever. And there's this continuity of government, continuity of governance, or however you want to refer to it. We need to have a strong, able-bodied government to run our nation. I mean, yeah, I agree with that, but does that mean that political officials in office should get priority over citizens? I mean, I'm not at all for universal health care, not in the fucking slightest. However, I do feel like it's a slap in the face when a member of Congress gets far better health care than someone living in poverty that's an American citizen. I feel like that shit's completely fucked up. And if Congress is going to have it, then why not the rest of us? As far as their pay is concerned, I'm perfectly fine with Congress making the money that they make, because I just wish that when you look at it from legal ramifications, like what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, one of the things that they're allowed to do is how they're allowed to take certain vacation time. I'm getting off on a tangent here. If I talk about this stuff, I need to have a fucking book ready in front of me so I can be more specific, because I'm at the point where I'm not even talking about what I was prepared to talk about here. I was prepared to talk about how 2020 has been for me, and that I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I didn't think I would go this far, but I did, because it almost always happens this way, because I get lost in tangents. But I need to stop myself now before I get carried away, because I already have. Oh yeah. All of them. Yeah, they use this platform. They use this office. They use the opportunities that are laid before them, to get rich. And I don't want to say that I'm against lobbying, because lobbying, by what it is, if you go in front of your city council, like for a city hall meeting or something like that, and you present a case for something, you're lobbying. If you go to your HOA and you present something to your HOA, you're lobbying for something. If you go forth in front of Congress and advocate for something, you're a lobbyist. Okay. Now it's the corporatization and, the mass benefits that come from the money involved with lobbying. Because most people that lobby don't have any money whatsoever. They're just there to give perspective and to educate lawmakers on how things are outside of their worldview, so they can get a greater understanding. But most lobbyists want to have robust conversations behind closed doors. They don't want to be publicly on record bribing, because that's essentially what they're doing. A lot of the lobbyists is that, hey, we really think that, for example, the whole right to repair bill, that's not a good thing at all. I think you should vote no on right to repair in your state. And just to encourage you and incentivize you to vote no on right to repair, we're going to donate $50,000 to your campaign fund. How does that sound? Because we believe it's in the best interest of our industry and in the best interest for the American people if you vote no on this. So rather than sit and educate you on all the ins and outs and stuff, I'm going to give you some bullshit rhetoric that is usually a giant misconception, and then we're going to line your pocket with some money. Lobbyists are able to do that. If me and you want to talk to our congressman with a robust conversation behind closed doors so that what we say is not on public record, that would not be allowed whatsoever. Lobbyists are allowed to do that because of the corporate ties that they have. Politicians are bought and paid for by corporations. Plain and simple. OpenSecrets.org, okay? Fucking AOC is owned by Amazon, Google, fucking Facebook. Like, these corporations own these members of Congress. That is what I am entirely against. Okay, now I'm not against a corporation providing money to, a candidate they want to support. But usually there's corporate policies that a corporation will not advocate or push forward a political candidate because that's against their ethical ethos or whatever. I'm really against corporate lobbying. There should be no money involved. Um, I have to sit and think and digest on it to better articulate my stance on, because whenever I provide my position on something, I don't want to sit, bitch, moan, and complain. I want to offer solutions. That's what I try to do. And it's like, it's probably the best thing moving forward is that we shouldn't just sit and discuss the utter horseshit of the world around us. We need to find a way to build a big enough shovel to clean up the mess. You feel me? We need to find solutions to make this world a better place. We can acknowledge that shit's kind of ass, but we have to make some sort of step, some sort of stride to how can we make things better for everybody. So every time I try to bring stuff up, I try to offer some valid form of solution and a direct line of rationale and logic linking the two. So foibles, I'm going to be in Discord voice chat. I'm pretty sure that you're still hoeing out for Uncle Sam. So if you can't jump on in 10, 15 minutes, thank you for serving the country and all that, doing whatever you're doing in Arkansas. We appreciate it. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to say that. Doing whatever you're doing in Indiana or Illinois. Who knows where this person is? And thank you, Robert, for engaging the conversation. It's nice to hear from you. It's been a while. Yeah, definitely check out episode 4 of the podcast. If you watch any episode of the podcast ever, watch episode 4. Please, God, watch episode 4. It's fucking the best. As always, I've been your oh so glorious and beloved Mace Fowler. Merry Christmas. Sign out.